we're here this morning. We're going to have another little devotional thought and some quick little announcements about what's going to come up this weekend and how we're going to move forward. Because again, this, coronavirus, COVID, whatever you want to call it, is making things weird and challenging, but we're not going to stop. Ministry is important. I'm committed to keeping connected with you guys in as many ways as possible. So, like I said, I've been going through kind of this devotional plan and reading a bunch of different passages of scripture every day. And I've been trying to kind of give you guys a balanced diet of the different things that I've been reading each day. So this comes out of the book of Proverbs, chapter 7. And I'll just read the thought, and then you guys can kind of comment your thoughts, and I'll give you mine, and then we'll call it a day. And as always, these will be posted up on YouTube later today. So this starts near the end of Proverbs chapter 7, verses 21 and following. It says, "With persuasive words she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. All at once he followed her like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose till an arrow pierces his liver, like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Don't let your heart turn to her ways or into her paths. Many are victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throne. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death." So in the book of Proverbs, this is a section of the book where it's a father giving advice to his sons. And in this passage, we're kind of catching it up in the middle. And what the author of Proverbs does is he uses kind of a set of illustrations or analogies. And he talks about kind of two women. Delicious. One is kind of the woman of wisdom, and the other is kind of the adulterous woman. And so what it's basically talking about here in this passage is that, we all can be tempted or led astray by different things. And then what makes those things difficult is they all sound appealing. And I think that when we are in a situation like we're in right now, the difficulty is the longer that we kind of feel cagey. And I think for many of us, we're probably getting to that point, right, where it just feels frustrating to be kind of just removed from normalcy and interrupted. If you read kind of an article that was posted on the Facebook page, some of you got it in a text, it's difficult to feel like our lives have been interrupted, and that can lead us into some different paths. And what the author of Proverbs says is, listen, that's going to sound good, and you're going to be led right along that path. It'll seem really innocent until it's not. And this is where I think that scripture and the wisdom that it offers is such a beautiful thing, because we don't really understand, or we don't necessarily know always where the paths are going to lead. Scripture gives us kind of a guiding light to remind us that these things that sound really appealing sometimes, and I don't necessarily know, maybe you can say, like, what are the things that in your mind and in your heart are maybe driving you this morning? Because I don't necessarily know what all those things would be, but my guess for many of us is just a sense of restlessness, of frustration, and we get short-tempered when things are like that. Maybe for some of us, all this isolation is forcing us to places on the internet we know we shouldn't necessarily go to. Maybe it's just kind of letting our value be assigned by how connected we are, and this isolation is maybe really hitting that. Whatever it is for you, we're called to be cautious of that. And in that, for us as followers of Christ, there's a beautiful reminder that we aren't kind of sustained by these things that we chase after. We can come to the cross, we can come to Jesus and be sustained in that way. And so that was just kind of a good reminder to me that those things that we can be tempted towards, especially in times where we feel like we don't really have a ton of options, those things don't lead to particularly good ends, and we don't always get to see them. They're going to seem really good until they're not, and then when they're not, they're bad. So that's my thought for this morning. Feel free to respond in the comments or whatever with what your thoughts are, how that hits you today. Again, that was out of Proverbs chapter 7. If you want to kind of read through that chapter, maybe with some of your time today, and then say, oh man, what really stuck out to me was this. I'd be happy to hear those thoughts. I'd love to, actually. So just so that you know, if you are a high school student, we had to cancel our high school coffee house that was scheduled. But you know what? I am determined. We are going to try to have the high school coffee house over a Zoom call at 8 o'clock tonight. So bring your favorite mug, fill it with whatever beverage of choice you have, whether it's coffee, whether it's hot chocolate, whether it's like ice water, it doesn't really matter. We'll just have some comfortable time together. Find a comfy chair, find a comfy outfit. We're going to hang out together, and then we will have a new and digital form of large group this Sunday. I am kind of working out what that's going to look like, but super excited about that too. So that is all we've got for today. Again, if you missed it, it's going to be up on YouTube later. You can forward this around or whatever. I don't know. You don't have to do that. But thank you guys for being here this morning. Thank you. I'm going to wave at our viewer for tuning in. And we will see you again. I'm probably not going to post one of these tomorrow, but because it's the weekend, we will see you guys again on Monday. And again, give me some feedback, how this is going. Proverbs 7 today. See you tonight if you're a high school student. We will try to get that information out. So take care. Have a great day. God bless.